Why is a receiver coming off the best season of his career suddenly popping up in trade rumors right when the Patriots' offense looks ready to explode? My answer is simple. Foxborough cannot confuse having options with having someone to spare. That tension sets up a huge day because this roster is changing right in front of us. There may be a chance to strengthen an injury-hit position, an offensive connection is already giving fans chills, and an old trade suddenly looks a lot smarter. I'm Sean Callahan, born and raised in Foxborough, and today the emotion comes with expectations. Subscribe to Patriots Club fans and come with me. I'll start with my honest reaction when this rumor surfaced. Watching New England give up on Kayshon Boutte right now would sting. After A.J. Brown arrived, Adam Schefter reported on June 2nd that the receiver had shown interest in leaving Foxborough. But Boutte attended all 3 days of mandatory minicamp and publicly said he wanted to stay because of the community, his teammates, and his coaches. That doesn't erase the earlier report. It shows a situation that feels more human, more open, and maybe more fixable than one trade headline makes it sound. Boutte is coming off the best season of his career. 33 catches, 551 yards, and 6 touchdowns in 2025. Those are not superstar numbers, but reducing him to that stat line would ignore where he really hurt defenses. Drake Maye posted a 143.8 passer rating when targeting Boutte. On 20 deep targets, they connected 12 times for 340 yards and 6 touchdowns. That's chemistry. That's trust built when a quarterback has to let the ball go before he knows exactly how the play will finish. I can still picture that one-handed catch against Houston. Snow falling. Derek Stingley in coverage. Fourth quarter of a playoff game. That wasn't empty production in June. That was a 24-year-old beating an all-pro cornerback in a moment that would overwhelm plenty of players. When you find that kind of connection with your quarterback, you don't just toss it away because you're anxious to clean up the depth chart. Brown's presence shouldn't push Boutte out. It should force him to grow. Demario Douglas publicly embraced the competition. Brown himself talked about raising the standard and holding everyone accountable. So do it. Make Boutte, Douglas, Kyle Williams, and everybody else fight for every rep. If someone wins the job, great. If a real offer can strengthen another part of the roster, Eliot Wolf needs to listen. But trading Boutte simply because the room is crowded would mean managing out of fear of having too much talent. Kyle Williams has explosiveness and has already shown flashes, but he hasn't built that same deep ball connection with Maye. The Patriots spent months searching for legitimate weapons. Now that they finally have options, tearing apart that depth before training camp would make no sense. Boutte has to prove every single day that he wants to stay. New England has to be smart enough not to confuse competitive discomfort with a lack of value. Julian Hill's injury created a concern the Patriots cannot just casually brush aside. Tight end depth feels like a minor issue in June, right up until the offense needs to protect Maye, support the running game, or attack the middle of the field in December. So when Kyle Pitts was connected to the Patriots as a possible trade target, I stopped and thought about it. Not because New England should chase every recognizable name, but because certain opportunities demand enough courage to at least make the call. Pitts has had a complicated career. A former first-round pick, he has never consistently delivered everything his talent promised, and an MCL injury played a role in that journey. Still, he finished 2025 with 88 catches, 928 yards, and 5 touchdowns. Defenses don't look at that and see a backup just filling snaps. They see a tight end who can create matchup problems, move like a receiver, and give Drake Maye another answer when the field starts to tighten. The possibility surfaced because Atlanta placed Pitts on the franchise tag while facing major future negotiations with Bijan Robinson and Drake London. Maybe the Falcons find a way to keep him. Maybe they would rather turn an uncertain contract situation into draft capital. That space in between is exactly where the Patriots should start gathering information. There's no reason to promise a premium pick or a massive extension before understanding the price, his health, and the fit. But there's no reward for standing still while a player with that ability might be available. Imagine a defense trying to deal with A.J. Brown outside, the other receivers fighting for space, and Pitts cutting through the heart of the coverage. Josh McDaniels could use heavier formations without revealing exactly what the offense plans to run. Maye would have a huge target on third down and in the red zone. Suddenly, Hill's absence wouldn't be a problem patched with a temporary solution. It could spark a genuine upgrade to the offense's ceiling. The price decides everything. Pitts playing under the tag would represent more than a trade. It would mean giving up assets for someone who could demand a major long-term commitment. Eliot Wolf needs to learn what Atlanta would want and how far a new contract could fit into the plan. If the numbers are reasonable, I want aggression. The AFC isn't going to wait patiently for New England to build the perfect offense. This is the kind of gamble that leaves me stuck between caution and excitement. His history demands care. His potential makes your imagination run wild. If the Patriots see a real opportunity to turn inconsistent talent into a game-changing weapon for Maye, Foxborough cannot be afraid to explore it. Take a breath and enjoy how much the picture has changed. After years of watching New England's offense survive without a dominant presence outside, I.J. Brown arrived at minicamp and immediately made the field feel different. He led the receivers through drills, became a major part of the passing game, and finished the week by going up for a touchdown over safety Craig Woodson. I know, it's June. Nothing counts in the standings, but every fan knows the feeling when a special player changes the temperature of an entire unit. The catch wasn't what really got me. It was Brown talking about Drake Maye. A veteran of his stature with multiple 1,400-yard seasons and enough experience to recognize empty talk, said Maye's talent speaks for itself. Then he went deeper. Brown praised the quarterback's ability to understand defenses, identify blitzes, control adjustments, and demand that his teammates know their responsibilities too. He called Maye a true leader of men. That matters. Maye is 23 years old and entering only his third season. In 2025, he finished second to Matthew Stafford in MVP voting and led the Patriots to their first Super Bowl since 2018. His arm had already convinced the fan base. So had his courage. What Brown discovered during those first few practices was the fast processing mind behind those plays, and a level of authority that has nothing to do with age. I grew up watching Foxborough fall in love with quarterbacks who commanded every detail. Hearing the new WR1 describe Maye that way hits differently. This isn't nostalgia, and it doesn't need to be. It's legitimate hope that Maye is building his own version of leadership with a weapon capable of matching his ambition. Brown also showed maturity when he explained that their connection will take time, repetitions, reading coverages together, understanding where Maye wants to place the football. That matters more than any beautiful minicamp clip. Talent can create one spectacular play. Repeated chemistry can create an entire season. Brown didn't arrive simply demanding targets. He arrived trying to understand how his quarterback thinks. The trade cost New England a 2027 fifth-round pick and a future first-round pick in 2028. That is a major investment, and nobody in New England should pretend otherwise. But real championship windows rarely open through timid moves. If Brown returns to the level of those back-to-back 1,400-yard seasons while Maye keeps ascending, this offense could force the entire AFC to completely rethink the Patriots. We don't need to turn a minicamp practice into a February parade. We can still recognize what may be developing. The star respects the quarterback. The quarterback finally has a star. And Patriots fans have a reason to feel that rush in their chest again. Green light, Patriots Nation. Give me one word in the comments to describe this duo. I'll admit it, I didn't like the Garrett Bradbury trade when it happened in March. He was coming off a strong season, carried a team-friendly contract, and seemed to provide exactly the kind of stability an offensive line needs around a young quarterback. In New England, depth up front should never be treated like a luxury. Watching the Patriots receive a 2027 fifth-round pick for a 30-year-old veteran who had played so well felt like an unnecessary gamble. A few months later, the picture has started to flip. The Patriots moved Jared Wilson to center, the position he played in college, and they still appear confident in that transition. Meanwhile, reports from Chicago suggest Bradberry has not met expectations and could even become a cut candidate before training camp. That's still off-season chatter, not a final verdict on the player. The pads haven't even come on, but the contrast is already impossible to ignore. What looked like an immediate loss for Foxborough may have been the front office seeing something before everyone else. Eliot Wolf may have recognized something those of us outside the building couldn't measure. Maybe he understood that Bradberry's 2025 season created the perfect moment to turn him into an asset. Maybe the coaching staff believed Wilson was ready for more responsibility, and keeping the veteran would only block that development. Managing a roster also means recognizing when a valuable player can be replaced before his performance begins to slide. That's where the acquired pick becomes important. A fifth-rounder doesn't look spectacular by itself, but if Bradberry fails to win the expected job in Chicago, the Patriots will have converted someone who may no longer have fit their plans into a future asset, created financial flexibility, and opened the door for a younger starter. That is how teams build long-term depth, as long as Wilson delivers on the field. That final condition cannot be ignored. Wolf doesn't deserve a victory lap in June. If Wilson struggles to identify pressure, execute clean snaps, or keep the interior secure for Maye, the fanbase will quickly remember who was traded. The Patriots cannot protect their quarterback with hope. They need proven answers when the season begins. Still, I like seeing a front office willing to make an unpopular decision because it trusts its own evaluation. We spent too long demanding direction and courage. This move may eventually represent both. Chicago still has time to get Bradberry back on track, and the veteran could respond once real contact begins. But if these reports reflect where that competition is heading, Wolf didn't simply sell at the right time. He kept New England from discovering that decline after it was already too late. Sometimes the best move isn't the one that excites you when it happens. It's the one that makes everybody revisit the details months later and admit it. Maybe Foxborough knew exactly what it was doing. What hits me today isn't one isolated headline. It's realizing that the Patriots are dealing with the problems of an ambitious team again. Deciding which weapons to keep, exploring bold opportunities, and trusting decisions that could reshape the roster. None of this guarantees victory. Training camp will demand answers from Boutte, Wilson, Brown, and this entire operation. But Foxborough no longer appears willing to sit around and wait for the future to arrive. It's trying to create that future. So give me one direct answer. Which of these 4 stories could change New England's season the most? Drop your take below, hit the like button, and subscribe to Patriots Club fans. I'm Sean Callahan, and around here, winning is still the expectation.